Morning guys, Ben here from 100M Man, and this morning I'm going to talk about putting stuff in the future. Now, I've always had the attitude that if you put stuff in the future that you want to achieve right now or have or do, then it very rarely comes around. If it does, it's slightly delayed. If it does, then it's altered slightly. And of course I'm talking about taking the action towards doing that thing. Speaking to someone I know yesterday, not a client, but a business contact, and they've been delaying something when actual fact is inevitable to happen, and as a result of that they're actually doing themselves out of good quality investment that they actually need, and they're constantly living in the future, and they're constantly living in that place. And I think it's actually something that we all can be doing, something that we all do, I think, as a subconscious level, as a result of excuse. And it doesn't necessarily mean what that excuse is. It'd be lack of time, lack of finances, lack of something. And I mentioned yesterday about there's never going to be the right time. You know, there's always going to be a reasons why we don't do something. I remember, in actual fact, as I'm saying this, just reflecting back to when I was planning, or we were planning the conception of my daughter. And my son was 3, and we're married. We had an element of stability, had a job or a career, had a house, recently moved, we'd had a holiday. So all of the stuff that you associate with stability, not necessarily the truth, but there is an element of stability there. And the question is asked, and I think most parents do it, do I have enough finances? Do I have enough financial security to bring another life into this world? And you can procrastinate about it, and I'm gifted to have the opportunity to have children. I'm aware some people aren't privileged enough to have that chance. So every day I'm blessed, or remind myself I'm blessed to have the ability to have children. But you can go through and you can procrastinate. I had problems getting that word out there. You can procrastinate about having or doing, and I think that's a really uncomfortable place to be. And I've said it before, if you're constantly living in the future and not living in the present, then you're living in a space that ultimately you have no control over. So much can happen. As I'm driving now, touch wood, this doesn't, you never know what incidents can happen as a result of external factors. You could say, and I subscribe to the law of attraction, what you put out is what you get back. I subscribe to elements of that in your own element of control, not necessarily factors outside of that. But it's essential that you start living in the present moment and avoid putting all your cards, all of your hopes, dreams and aspirations in the future. You've been holding back on something just in case. Saving for a rainy day, that's another statement that baffles me. I know someone that is saving for a rainy day, working 80 hours a week, non-stop, creating financial security. And for what? A rainy day, reaching 60, 70, 80 years old, burnt out, worn out, having not lived the life they want to. So I guess what I'm saying this morning is that avoid the temptation to put all of the stuff that you want to achieve out there. people talk about setting goals, goal setting, setting date-specific things, time-related restraints. I don't necessarily always agree to that. I think there is sometimes where you have to subscribe to certain time restrictions, but also believe that there should be an element of flow as well, an element of freedom over allowing things to happen. And I think things like that happen, or I don't think things like that happen when everything is congruent with where you're going. If you want to be a world-class athlete, for example, then you need to put in the time, the dedication, everything else based on what is congruent in that present moment. Take the action to do it. Constantly evolve, constantly absorb information that is productive to you and self. Avoid the temptation where possible to live in the future. In the conversation that I had, we were speaking about meeting certain financial thresholds before taking the next step. And I'm not risk adverse as an individual, but I like to think and avoid taking unnecessary risks, but also understand the difference between risk and investment. And where financial thresholds are taken, you need to be realistic with that. If you're selling fizzy drinks at the side of the road, homemade lemonade at the side of the road, and your aspirations is to open a store selling fresh juice, you need to really think about the volume that's going to take before you can achieve that goal. If you have enough money saved and you plan and execute something that is financially viable, then why not go do it now? You know, why not go and open that store right now? Avoid the temptation to live so far in the future that you're actually making those dreams, those aspirations unachievable. Avoid the temptation to believe that it's something that you're actually going to achieve. Hard, isn't it? It's a hard, honest place to go. It could be quite dark for some people, working for 40, 50 years, then realising that at the end of that pension that you were relying on to live the dreams that you wanted actually are not going to come into fruition. Difficult place to go, right? The same set can be said for your commitment, your investment in the present moment. Whether you're investing right now to achieving something that is realistic. If you're a good athlete, and you can be a better athlete through changing coaches, changing your location, changing the amount of time that you've given, changing your perhaps supportive career choice, then you need to take the action right now, today, because the longer you delay it, the longer you're delaying the wealth, abundance, success, whatever byproduct it is, and the longer you'll be waiting. And if the dynamics of your life change for whatever reason, perhaps elements outside of your control, then that right, that privilege, that thing is going to be taken away without anything you can do about it. And I've noticed that with a couple of people I know, where One in particular person that I know that waited for so long, then through injury was unable to complete something they wanted to do, a childhood aspiration. It's sad, you know. They had ample years and opportunities to do it. And you could say that's one of the main key reasons why I did the Ironman. Not only because I was there 25 years ago and saw the first one, and there was a nostalgic element to it, but also because every year goes by, every year, so I'm going to do something this year. 99% of the time I deliver on what I say I'm going to do. There is that 1% that is delayed slightly. And I've said it before, the last thing you want to do is be living in that space of anger, resentment, frustration, envy, hatred, when you didn't take the action required because of whatever excuses you've given yourself. So that's it for today. I hope that makes sense, inspired, given a little food for thought. For now, peace out, be safe.